Today we're going to start a project in the style of an artist named Vasily Kandinsky. He is most well known for one of his paintings, which is a series of circles that goes across that are different colors, and they repeat over and over, and it's something that's fairly recognizable as being by him. Today we are going to create one with 4 shapes on it, and we will talk about which shapes we can use as a part of our assignment. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to fold our paper into fourths or quarters. So I'm going to fold my paper in half, and I absolutely use the table to help me. So I've lined up my edges, I hold them down, I take my other hand and I pull out, and then out and up to the top. Then I can fold it going in the opposite direction, so I end up with a much smaller square. If this part is sticking up, what you do is you tuck your finger in there and you pull it towards you a little bit, and then you can kind of press down a lot easier. And you do want to crease it fairly well so that you can see where your 4 smaller squares are going to be. So now I have mine all folded, and what you are going to do is you're going to take a minute and fold yours now. After you have your paper folded, what you are going to do is you're going to choose one shape. So you could choose a circle, you could choose a square, a triangle. Keep it simple. The focus is not necessarily going to be on details or anything like that. So we want to stick with a simple geometric shape. If you want to come up with something that looks like a flower or looks like a heart or a rhombus, that's fine too. But remember, we're not drawing a picture with this. We're just drawing a shape. So I am going to make mine with a triangle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a medium-sized triangle in the center of my paper. In the center of that first square, sorry. Then I'm going to do the same thing in all of my other squares. So I'm going to add a triangle here. I'm going to add a triangle here. So I'm using the same shape. So that's repetition. We're going to be using the same shape throughout. Now, to make my life easier, I am then going to add a larger triangle around it. And I'm drawing this lightly. I know it's a little bit hard to see, and that's okay. But what this is going to do is it's going to help me keep my coloring nice and neat. And I'm going to make this even larger. So now I'm making a larger one. Okay, and then I'm going to keep going even though this ends up looking like it goes off of the paper. That's okay. You're going to keep going. So there's an even larger triangle. And I'm going to do this in every one of my boxes. So I'm going to finish this one up so you can see what one looks like. So that one is now all done. And if I lift it up and show you a little bit closer, you can see that my small one is still in the middle, but then I made it larger all the way around, and I went right to the edges of that square. I stopped at the fold. I did not make the triangle cross into the other square. Okay, so I want you to get started on that, and I will finish this up and I'll show you what it looks like when it's all laid out in pencil first. And now you'll notice that I have my triangle all filling out all 4 sections of my paper. The next thing that we are going to do is we're going to start to add color. So you are going to take a moment, make sure that you have yours how you want it, and that it's neatly drawn out with pencil first, and then we will add color in just a minute. Next, you'll see that I have a selection of markers with me, and I am going to not use all of them. I might end up using 3 or 4, so maybe I am going to use blue, purple, green, and yellow just for a little bit of brightness. So I'm not using the whole rainbow. I'm trying to pick and choose which colors I like and which ones I feel will look good together. So I'm going to put these out of the way, and I have the 4 colors that I'm going to use. Now, I am not coloring all of these squares with marker. Part of this assignment is that you are showing me that you can use a variety of materials, which means more than 1, more than 2, and that you can use them properly. So I am looking for nice, neat coloring with more than 1 material. So this square is where I've chosen to add my markers with my coloring. So I am going to make sure that I stay in those pencil lines that I drew. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this whole triangle with marker first. Then I'm going to use a different material, and what we're going to end up using for this whole project is we will have some choices. We will be able to use marker, crayon, colored pencil, and most likely for our last one we will use oil pastel as well. We're just going to have to be careful because I'm going to be asking you what you notice about using these different materials as you use them. So I'm going to want to know, how are they different? How are they alike? What do the colors look like? And things like that as a part of this assignment. It's a great review for coloring neatly and for what materials are good for big spaces compared to smaller spaces as well. Now you will notice that I have finished my triangle with marker. The next material that I'm going to use is going to be crayons. And I'm still using the same colors. I might not put them necessarily in the same exact order, and I can choose whichever section I want to use with crayons. It doesn't matter. I can use the next one. I can do the one diagonally across. The order doesn't matter. We'll end up filling them all with different colors eventually. So I am noticing that I filled this triangle with yellow. So I might come up here and I might use green next so that it kind of goes in a different order. So I would do green, blue, purple, yellow, starting in the center instead of yellow, green, blue, purple. So we'll see if it works and if it looks good. Again, I am really trying to keep my coloring as neat as possible. With crayon, you can press firmly and get a darker color. You can also press lightly. You can still color neatly if you are pressing lightly. You don't have to press so hard that you're hurting your hands. Same thing with colored pencil. You can still fill in all of those spaces nicely if you are pressing lightly, and there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. Okay. Now you will notice that I have my marker section and my crayon section finished. And I think that it's really nice how there's a big contrast between what the colors look like. And I am demonstrating that I can color neatly with both markers and crayons. The material that we are going to use next is colored pencil. Now, I'm going to choose to put colored pencil in this part. Now I've finished my colored pencil section, and you'll notice that the colored pencil and the crayon look quite similar in appearance. That is because of how hard I tend to press when I'm using those materials. The last section that we are going to color in is going to be with oil pastels. And so I have my 4 colors, and you'll notice I'm sticking with the same colors in each one so that this way it does look like it all goes together and it is consistent. So I have done the center triangle with green, yellow, and purple, and so that means that I'm going to use blue in this next one to get started, and then I'm going to finish that pattern. All right, at this point, I have finished my entire piece. I have done marker, crayon, colored pencil, and oil pastel.